It's time for Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show across your view screen on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. See, there it is. All in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions, just like you. Whatever your flavour, your era, whoever is your Doctor, there'll be plenty to get your time rotor positively spinning again this time. And, thank heaven for that. Rain, at last, everybody, we're spared another heat wave. For now. Oh, I was running around in it. I was giddy as a schoolgirl. But there's lots of storms gathering as ever, because this is the Doctor Who universe. We're going to look at all of that and see what we can make of it before we head off into the sunset. And we're going to say our sad bye-byes to the thumping detective himself. All coming up on one last big hoorah, Type 40 Live. And to celebrate us coming home in an orderly fashion, here we are in the present day, sort of present day, most recent of TARDIS console rooms for another Type 40 Live. Hello, I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, enjoying the great British summertime, sort of enjoying. But yeah, I love the rain today. I forgot what it felt like to feel it on my face and in my hair. And yes, it was sensational, absolutely sensational. The temperature's starting to go up again already, but we'll see. We'll see where we end up. But yeah, we're back in the console room for another round of naughtiness from across the Whoniverse. I'll be seeing what you've got to say as well about everything that we bring up. So let us know who you are and what you've got to say, all in good time. It does have that kind of last day of term feel about it. I think I've not brought any of my sort of favourite toys and games this time, though. Just our much-loved panel of bad wolves and good eggs as ever, headed up by the capped one himself, the retro doc. Drock? The retro doc, Gary Akers.
Drock? Yes.
Yes.
Hello. I have to ask, with your weather now,
Yeah.
I really, really hope that you grabbed an umbrella and went out and did like a Gene Kelly impression and did like the whole song, out there splashing around and jumping on lampposts and just reveling in the rain.
I don't really move like Gene Kelly, more like Ned Kelly, to tell you the truth. But I'll do my best. I'll give anything a go. It was sensational, Gary. Absolutely sensational. Whether this counts as sensational, I'm not entirely sure. But I like that we can have a good look at all these instruments and bits and pieces and whatnot before this set may be disappearing for good. I think you never know. We may be just as fond of this in 5 years' time as we are of the Hinchcliffe secondary. Shot down right away, Gary Akers.
Yeah, no, we won't. I mean, it doesn't even have a biscuit dispenser, which is the best thing you could say about Jodie's console.
Yeah, she got the custard creams.
The custard creams. I mean, I would, if somebody wanted to give me that jukebox, I wouldn't turn it down.
You wouldn't turn the jukebox down. You want it, you like it loud.
Okay, yes. In that sense, yes. But if somebody wanted to give it to me, I'd go, sure, I'll take it and thank you. I'd put it in the corner, But I'm not going to shed, too many tears when it comes to be the last time I see this console.
Oh, I believe you. Thousands wouldn't. What have you got to say about it, David Milling?
What, the jukebox or Gary owning the jukebox? Well, I used to work in a bar as a student when I was in the Students' Union at university, and we had a jukebox there. And the problem was that the jukebox kept getting stuck. So essentially, you'd sort of put all your stuff in what you wanted to play. And then all of a sudden, it would break off into Telstar.
Oh.
And so it would go from sort of like, I think it was probably All Saints, or the latest from the Spice Girls, into a latest dance track into Telstar. which was always sort of like a okay, right, and then it would just jump back again, and it was either that, and then once somebody decided to plunge a load of classics into it, which, oh my god, and they put Dean Friedman's Lucky Star, if you know that one.
I know Telstar, because that's more of a sort of ringtone than a song, isn't it? That tune.
Your Lucky Stars, yeah. It was a duet, and he had a big sort of mop of curly hair, a bit like Leo Sayer. It was a very poor man's Leo Sayer. I
thought you were going to say like Tom Baker there for a moment. You're a Doctor Who fan, man. Pull yourself together.
Yeah, but it was very much of a time of Tom Baker's Lucky Stars, and we also had.
I think I know it.
It also did have Leo Sayers. The one where he's thinking Alone Again. That one.
Wait. Which song?
Alone Again. Naturally.
Oh no, I don't think that was Leo Sayer. I think that was that's going to be the most depressing song ever written.
Gabriel O'Sullivan.
Yes, well, there you go. Leo Sayer had "You Make Me Feel Like Dancing."
Yes, that was on there too. That's why I got mistaken. They all looked the same, didn't they? With their mop of curly hair. There used to
be a jukebox in one of my local pubs, and it jammed all the time, particularly on old Elvis tunes. So we used to get the first line of Jailhouse Rock over and over again. A warden through a party, just over and over and over.
Give it a whack.
Give it a kick. Give it a good old kick in. Yeah, where would we be now? Jukeboxes in pubs. I can't remember the last time I saw one.
It'll probably be like £1 for a play now, or $5 for a play.
You know, I don't know the bars just do streaming now.
Probably. I'm going. Well, let's face it. None of us know. Let's ask our resident young person.
Resident,
it has to be.
Let's ask the young person.
Yeah, she goes to bars all the time. She'll know.
Yeah,
she's dancing on them than to do anything else, aren't you? Busting your moves.
To be fair, most of what David said, all those tracks, I was literally going in my head, like what? And then it wasn't literally until you said Elvis, I was like, I know that one.
Do you know who Elvis Presley was?
Yes.
Yeah. So you don't go to places like Coyote Ugly and start dancing on the bars like Leon Rhymes?
Oh, like she'd admit it.
I do love the fact that you know that movie though, David, because
it's a classic movie. It's an amazing movie. I love that movie. I could watch it right now, but I'm not going to because I'm here.
And who was the dad in that? He was a good actor. Who was the dad in that?
Oh God,
like the guy who was in Roseanne. I'm pretty sure.
Cosmo Smallpiece.
John Goodman.
Yes, we're in the TARDIS John again. Something.
We're in the TARDIS again, Charlotte. We've just been talking about the jukebox and wondering whether we're going to miss this particular model of the old girl. I think we got about 16 minutes worth of screen time, if that, across 20 odd episodes, didn't we? It was very scant indeed.
Yeah, I do, but we'll know we will know when this eventually gets taken down, because fans online will randomly start appearing with pictures with bits of the TARDIS. That's always what happens when TARDIS sets get taken down, because people know people and they go like, do you want
Look what I've got on my laboratory wall, that kind of thing.
And you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen, Charlotte, is all the people who were responsible for Yanto's shrine are going to show up at Bad Wolf and construct another wall, in memory of this TARDIS.
Oh, I don't think so.
Let us know your odes to the what are we going to call this? We're going to call this the Apple Store TARDIS in the future. Your odes to this model of TARDIS. How will you commemorate its passing? Should this indeed be the last that we'll ever see of it? I don't know if this is the last that we've seen in the UK of the heat waves, Charlotte. I'm not going to be lured into a false sense of security just yet. It was excruciating 2 or 3 times over. Oh, my God. But being out in the rain today, I was such a happy bunny. I really was. I was running around like a rabbit. I was like a rabbit in a Disney film or something like that.
Oh, it's warm my end, or my part of the world.
It's warm my end too. We didn't even have a moment's drop. Is it warm your end, Gary?
No, it's not really too warm. It's kind of nice, even temperature. You know what? I'm starting to suspect that this rain is just like a figment of imagination. The heat drove him so nuts that now he's imagining that it's raining, but it's really not.
Did you just have a shower and you just sort of like got confused?
Oh, yeah, I woke up and I was eating the shower hose or something like that. No, it's genuine actual rain, but that doesn't alter the fact that summer is well and truly upon us. And as a Doctor Who fan, obviously we're used to, well, summer is not really associated with Doctor Who. It was never on, but it was a time where we'd get sort of whisked off the motorway or an A road somewhere with a copy of the latest Doctor Who magazine or Doctor Who monthly summer special tucked in a bag somewhere to break the monotony, Gary, because wherever we were going, if we're going to be staying in a tent or a caravan, you could guarantee it was going to piss it down, and so you'd need some reading matter. And the Doctor Who summer specials were always essential.
I mean, and that was the one on the left, the 1985 summer special, with I think the gorgeous kind of Dave Gibbons cover, and I think it was the 75th reprinting of the Iron Legion by that point. The most reprinted story in Doctor Who history, which is fine because it's a good one. And then the summer special, they cheated a little bit on that, because if I remember that one, that was basically like 4 pages of text with with art that was wrapping around like comic reprints. So they got creative in order to make like something old look new, but you had to get them all.
Had to get them all. Did you pick up any of these, David, or was it slightly before your time?
Slightly before my time. I more like sorry, I'll just put my teeth in. I do apologize. I was more a buyer of the annuals, if you see what I mean.
Oh yeah.
I got them bought for me more at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just realized I've been calling Absalom Dark wrong, his name wrong all these years. I always thought it was Absalom. I always added an extra O. My goodness me, how foolish.
Every day's a school day, mate. Every day's a school day. Apart from the summer holidays, of course, where we're used to sort of breaking up and cutting loose and doing all of that, Charlotte. Some of us more than others, I appreciate. But this is the time of year where you can go out and play. For example, you can take part in whichever sport you can find an opponent to do battle with. Ideally in the great outdoors, take as much of that in as you can. Kick a ball around with some mates. Maybe after you've had a couple of pints, get on the outside of a couple and see what happens there, what could go wrong. Or you can spend some time with family. That's bound to go well.
Hey, it's Father Brown.
Or you can simply head off to the pub with some mates and lose an afternoon having a liquid lunch, tea, and supper. That's how that works. And at the end of it all, you can go and brown your buns, should you be fortunate enough to find the right location. I think Jenna's really hoping there, but you've always got to remember not to take it too far, because,
go back to that. I want to get a screen grab.
It can all go just as wrong as well. You can end up looking like him. Yeah. So obviously, summer is its own set of problems and obstacles to be scaled in that order. Sometimes, you can do them in the order in which you prefer. But for now, I'm enjoying the rain before I head back to yet another heat wave, which is almost certainly going to be on the way. So what I was wondering is, what are your plans, everybody, for the summer, for the rest of this week, and then heading off into August, into proper holiday time? David, any plans?
I do want to see the Odyssey sometime, but I think you can book tickets.
That's indoors.
I think you can. I think you can book tickets up to July next year, so I might have to wait for that.
Well, that's the
joking, folks.
That's the Odyssey. The wait on the phone line to try and book a ticket.
Oh, it's just awful. It's just, it's trying to get seats is like nightmare.
It'll be streaming by Labor Day.
It will be, yes, whenever that is in the UK.
You can watch it on your phone, David. It won't lose anything.
Okay. All right. I'd have to put my glasses on. So, but
This cinematic epic odyssey. You watch on your blower.
yeah, watch it on that. Well, we're off to Portugal soon, also to see with my mother-in-law and my wife's family, because she turned 70, and we're having a birthday party for her out there.
Wow.
She didn't want to go to the local Wimpy's, so
it's nice try.
I would have preferred Wimpy's, but that's where we're going. And then, fortunately, cricket becomes more normal again at the end of August, and so I've got a nice couple of days booked at Lord's, the Mecca home of cricket, at the end of August. So, and hopefully we might get some rain soon, because there's this condition going around, which is, people are getting sort of like, not sort of battle weary, but sort of mentally weary with the fact that we're not having any rain, and it's sort of like the weather is stuck in one pattern, and apart from your part of Birmingham, Dan, whereby, whereby I just sort of like, I want to be able to mow the garden again. I can't mow the garden. I can't get the petrol lawnmower out and mow. And I need to do some mowing. And I can't, because the grass is just not grass. It's straw and not growing. So, things like that. And I'd like to be able to sleep at night without having 15 fans on in the bedroom. Apart from, that is me. Actually, in an evening, sort of that wild stare as I'm woken up again by yet another a car alarm or burglar alarm triggered by the excessive heat at 3 a.m. in the morning. So it's we have got a lot planned for the summer. So it no doubt it will rain.
You're not going away at all? You've not got any trips?
Yeah. We've got the Portugal trip. We've got a week in Portugal, and then cricket, and then I'm going to London for a day to watch a play with Rosie, so my daughter. So
you're getting plenty of things in the diary. Sounds good.
Yeah, pack it in. Yeah, packed diary. Yeah, pack it all in, and
How about you, Charlotte? What are your plans for the next few weeks?
In the next couple of days, I'm having some day trips, basically, to Liverpool tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to.
Plenty of bars.
It'll be during the day, so I think we'll be good. Yeah. Me and my best mate. And then me and the lovely Sarah are going to have a meet-up in Manchester. We tried to get tickets for the Odyssey. They were all booked out. So it's just a day out in Manchester. Yes. Wow. The big cinema, if people know, the Printworks. Yeah. We looked at all the afternoon book things, and they were all booked out. So we're just going to have the day out. And then when Sarah is freer near the end of the summer holidays, we're going to try again and see if it's still in cinemas. If not, we're probably going to just see something else, because we do like going to
this
the
is
cinema.
Definitely a thing.
Yeah, go see Spider-Man.
This film. Yeah. Well, obviously, I hope you have a smashing time. Yeah.
Yeah, and otherwise than that, because obviously I'm off for now a nice chunk of time, it's just going to be nice just to not be around children a little bit, and not be around.
Apart from us, you mean?
Yeah, like children that I can control more. And then
what, like taser? If they sort of like if they don't do as what they're told.
We can't even shout at them nowadays, let alone anything else. And then just bits and bobs, and it's like I said, it's just gonna be enjoying having my time off. Catching up on telly, I've got some stuff I do want to catch up on at the moment. House of Dragon has come back, so I've been watching that. Now I've
brilliant.
Got some
I love that show.
Free time. Well, even if it's not brilliant writing, I got Matt in it, so that's sort of my comfort blanket with House of Dragon.
Your comfort bloke.
I said blanket, but I suppose that would suit as well.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say bloke, because you sorry.
Well, I was going to say, to be fair though, considering the character he's playing in House of Dragon, he's not really the nicest person in the world, is he? So But he plays it really well. So that's gonna be me. Days out, catching up on a bit of telly and just relaxing a little bit and not being around children.
Fabulous. And how about you, Gary? What are your plans? How do you enjoy your downtime in the summertime?
Well, I don't actually, unfortunately, get a lot of downtime. I mean, my job's kind of year round, and unfortunately, I'm one of two people in my department, so I'm fairly kind of indispensable. So I have to kind of just wedge like the odd Friday or Monday off and kind of extend a weekend. But next month I have one of my closest friends from college who lives up in Seattle is coming down, for a week to do various things, and we'll get together, and that's kind of cool. And I'll go here and there, like walking or something, movie or whatever. And I'm so behind on whether it's my TiVo streaming viewing or whatever. I thought it was going to be good, and a few weeks ago, and it's like I'm going to be really good, and I'm going to totally trim my list of all the streaming that I've saved on my watch lists and stuff, and I'll be good. I'll just delete, and I'll feel like I have a handle on it. Just making the list, as I got a little notebook and wrote out the list, was 4 pages long, single spaced. I thought I can live to be 140, and I'm never going to get to all this stuff. And I trimmed exactly, I think, 3 things from that list. So I'll probably just be, a lump and a veg, and try to catch up on my streaming. I wish I could be like with Peter Capaldi there, at the beach sipping, a nicely colored cocktail, but I don't think that's going to be in my future. Yes.
Very yacht rock, Peter Capaldi there.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that. That's on my list too. I'm watching the HBO yacht rock.
I noticed how few of us, well, any of us at all, have mentioned that we are planning to get any watching of Doctor Who done. We all seem to be wanting to stay clear of Doctor Who for maybe a little while. I don't know. I think I might get some in somewhere, make my way through a classic series box set, something like that. But otherwise, I've got lots of things going on with my family too. We've just had the big graduation, of course. I'm heading down to Cardiff to spend some time with another one of my sons in a couple of weeks' time. Then I've got an event to go to, got other things kicking off. So yeah, it should be pretty eventful. Before I know it, it'll be Christmas. That's how it tends to work at this time of year, Charlotte.
I'm going to say that I watched some Dominators today. Does that count?
Yeah,
Dominators. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it does.
Are we talking Doctor Who type Dominators or something else?
No, that was the season 6.
I've seen that movie.
Thing. Yeah, I mean, as far as like Doctor Who watching goes, the one thing I know for sure I'm going to be watching, I'll probably be very often looking at that picture of Jenna that you put up. I'll be looking at that several times over the course of the next
hour.
Well, yeah. No, I don't want to be too distracted, David. But
we'll see what we can do. We'll
there you go.
Throw it in at every possible opportunity we can get away with. But yeah, this is where we talk about all things Doctor Who, from the classic to the new, and if we absolutely have to, the all new. That's generally how it rolls, and we'll find out what your plans are, what you've been up to, naughty, and what the future may bring over the next few weeks for you. So let us know in the live chat, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, and yeah, we'll compare some notes between us. I think that's a sensible strategy for our breakup show. Oh, yeah. So this, believe it or not, this is meant to be a Doctor Who show. We've talked scant about Doctor Who over the last 20 odd minutes, but that's going to change. I promise there's more to get into than you would think. Just don't expect any of it to make a great deal of sense or to be that serious. We're just going to hit the jukebox and see in which order everything comes out. But before we do that, before we get jiving, we're back to Gene Kelly again. Before we get jiving, let's look and see, connect with the people in the live chat and see what they've got to say What have you got to say for yourself?
Say something nice. Otherwise, I'll destroy the universe if you don't watch Type 40.
All right, come on, you tarts. Let's see what you've got to say. We've got what? Coyote Ugly.
Chris, you need to watch it. It's a
Oh,
very
God,
good
Chris.
like. It was
Yes.
in the 90s. It came out like the
Yeah, it was
early
in the
It's
90s.
2000s.
99, 2000. Yeah.
They even tried to make I think a short-lived TV series of that, which to
Yeah,
me is like one of the
did.
most pointless things in the world, because you
franchise
can't do
bar.
anything on television.
There's a Coyote Ugly bar in Coventry, I think, or at least there was. And they play the music. Everybody gets up on the bar and does the dance at a certain time, that kind of thing. But I don't really believe that Chris doesn't know what Coyote Ugly is. But oh yeah, we'll take him at face value this time.
It's an
No
amazing
clicking
film.
your fingers tonight. David Milling says funky. Is that
Yes,
is that a cricket term?
right. Briefly, there was a
Oh, yeah.
Sunday League team who resorted to cheating by one of the fielders behind the bat as the ball was passing the bat, going to simulate bat on ball, and they'd all go up for a catch, and basically they were conning these old doddery umpires to give it out. So they were basically cheating. And it was this big fat bloke who has been named and shamed from Durham all over the world as this sort of like the worst man ever since the last worst man ever. And there's been this furore. And I just went sort of like, you're playing cricket for fun. Okay, it's fun. Why cheat? There's no need for it. And it's just
Cheaters never prosper. Cheaters never prosper.
No, exactly. And it's just so he's basically had the whole cricket world call him out for being a bit of a twat, really. So there you go.
Speaking of twats, wouldn't turn the jukebox down, says Stephen O'Neill, but I would turn down the owner. I'd turn down Shooty Gatwa. He was a terrible doctor, says Stephen O'Neill. I meant that Shooty was the twat, Stephen, not you. Not you, I must
gosh.
Bush Ranger reference, loving it, says Anthony. I don't know what he's talking about. Is that more cricket? I don't know. Hi, everyone, says Nicholas Horton there in the live chat. And we've got Tom from T Dwarf Productions back with us as well. Hi, everyone. It's 60 years of my favourite Japanese show, Ultraman, says Tom. I've never seen Ultraman. I've seen pictures of it. It looks loads of fun, but I've never watched it. Charlotte, have you seen Ultraman?
Well, I've not watched it, but like I said, I grew up with Power Rangers, so it's part of that sort of Sentai Japanese world of shows.
I see geezers in lycra stamping on skyscrapers made of shoeboxes, that kind of thing.
That's right.
It's my idea of a good time, mate. Enjoy yourself, Tom. Yeah, battle on, battle on. Haven't seen any rain in my area, says Woodhouse122. And there's lots of comments like that. Stephen's got the same problem as well.
It was all in his head, I'm telling you.
Oh, it was just one cloud that just was over Birmingham. Nowhere else today.
Yeah, like Snoopy.
Like my ex-wife.
Linus. It was like, was it Linus or Charlie Brown that used to have the rain clouds?
I think it was Charlie Brown, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of them did. Well remembered. It rained here in Walsall today. Thank heaven, Nicholas. It's not just me. I'm not losing my mind. Personally, I hate the rain, says Julie Dunn, and would be glad if it never rained again. What about your garden? Think of your tomatoes, Julie. Think of your plums.
And poor David wanted to have his lawn.
I mean, I'm looking out at a rather shriveled bush at the moment. I mean, I need some rain.
Say no more. Very good. Atty Tree says that Jenna Coleman seems to have the same problem as me. God, here we go. Is this regarding genitalia? My next socks have had a reduction in material by 1 inch, so my socks are short down my ankle. I hope that she gets a refund. Oh, I see. I think, you got your refund. Maybe she will as well. We've got a mention for Sarah. Say hello for us, Charlotte. Says
I will.
There in the live chat. Excellent stuff. What else is here? Yeah, if it does rain in your neck of the woods, says Stephen, David, maybe you could get the 14th Doctor to mow your lawn.
No, he's not touching my lawnmower.
Do you actually have a sit-down lawnmower?
My garden's not big enough for a sit-down lawnmower, but I do have a yank the chain, not yank the string, the pulley system, the lever, and a good old petrol lawnmower that with a hint of backfire as well, which always goes down well with the neighbors.
You remember, David, that old movie? I can't remember the name of it, but it was like an 80s movie. It was based on a true story about this old guy who just like sat in the lawnmower and just took off and tried to cross the country in his lawnmower. You need to do something like that. Get us in and just head down the street and just drive off to wherever, visit various places around the UK on your lawnmower.
And then in a couple of years' time, you can be on a crew trime.
A crew trime, yeah.
I can't speak either tonight, folks.
The mowing detective.
True crime podcast.
Oh God.
Yeah, you could be like Jessica Fletcher, like somebody gets killed and you drive up on her lawnmower and say, let me help, and then you can solve it. That'd be great.
I'll solve your crime and give
I'm going to copyright that idea before anybody
I'll
steals
solve
it.
your crime and give your verges a quick going over. Yeah, while I'm at it.
Absolute lunacy. Stephen O'Neill says, it's okay, Dan. I've been called worse than that, having been a work coach in a job centre.
Oh, my Lord.
It's okay, Dan. I've got the screenshot at Type 40. Screenshot of what?
Probably Jenna Coleman's
socks
issue with Next and the scrimping of material.
We've got this from Rose Kirby, and she says, hey, my month ahead is going to be MCM Comic-Con, Destination Star Trek, and hopefully have a great bank holiday weekend.
Good for you,
sounds
Rose.
Like a very geeky time, Rose. Yeah, knock yourself out. That sounds absolutely brilliant.
Are there any Who people appearing at the Comic-Con?
There'll be some, surely. There's always some people from classic
or
modern.
You can go on Star Trek cruises now with people from Star Trek.
Yeah, they've had those for decades. Yeah,
they should do some Doctor Who cruises.
Just imagine every time they hold
mass murder.
Every time they have Gallifrey 1, someone gets arrested or does something or other. So if they were at sea, heaven knows how it would be. AF says, I watched Spaceballs on YouTube last night. So silly, but some great gags, and lovely to see John Candy as a dog.
Yes.
And there's a great cast there. I can't stand that film, but I know how popular it is. I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
But
you watched it on YouTube. On YouTube, that's a naughty.
I'm assuming, Dan, then you're not going to go see the sequel that's coming out?
I was going to say, I hope that's good.
I like Spaceballs. I do. But I think it's one of those films that you can only watch once or twice. I think because otherwise it becomes highly irritating.
Yeah, Mel Brooks, the sum total of his comedy is go and laugh, I'm Jewish. Just meant to laugh. Because he's Jewish and he uses all these. I just don't get it. Don't like any of them. Blazing Saddles is obviously the worst offender. I mean, people have tried to tell me that that it's genius and all this kind of thing, but no, I don't know what he's talking about half the time. So I just pass on anything to do with Mel Brooks now. R.I.P. John Candy. Yeah, I love John Candy. Of course, I did.
Yes.
All Mel Brooks films are good to watch once or twice, and then I'm good, says Lord Thoth. And I'm going to read this anyway, since it's the last day of term. Philip Roy says, I once went cruising with Richard Franklin. Thank you for that.
Was that on a ship, or was it in a sort of
I think we know what
location?
Thank you, everybody, for the comments. Keep them coming, please. Yes, this is where everybody tells me that I'm wrong about Mel Brooks films. Watch Robin Hood, Men of Tights. No, absolutely shit. So you never convinced me. I've had 40 years to try all of these films. I hate them all, but you let me know exactly what you're watching over the summer. Send us some recommendations, movies and TV shows, old or new. There's bound to be something I like somewhere along the lines, but generally as regards Mel Brooks, I'm kind of like this.
Come here again with this.
Oh, did you see? I'll tell you a film I did see the other day whilst I was ironing, catching up. The latest Beverly Hills Cop one, Axel Foley. When
It's great. Yeah.
I loved it. It was back to how it was at the start. It was fantastic. I like that extra dynamic with his daughter. And if you've not seen it on the chat, it is available, I think, on Netflix. It was a Netflix production. So
It's really
give
good.
that a go. And it's really, really good.
What is that, like Beverly Hills Cop 8 or something? How many?
That's the fourth one, but
okay.
it was done in 2024. And it's really actually quite funny. You get to see a people on bikes being, and it, because I like my lawnmowers, as you know, you get to see a snowplow involved in a sort of bad guy chase.
It's certainly
So
the
that
strongest
ticks all the
Beverly Hills Cop
boxes.
movie since the original one. Heartily
Yeah.
recommended. There's nobody in the live chat here who is mourning the potential loss of this Doctor Who console room, which I can't say is a big surprise. But obviously, let us know. There could be one or two shy lurkers there who are reluctant to share their love for this set. But by all means, you're amongst friends. Let it fly. Tell us how you really feel.
You're watching Type 40. Stupid tune anyway.
Let's take the high road now, I think. Let's take the high road to Scotland in particular. It's all been about Scotland for the last week or so in the Whoniverse, and this really interesting story that has sort of popped onto our radar. We looked at Scotland a few weeks ago because of the World Cup. If you remember, Karen Gillan was doing some sterling work supporting the boys there in foreign climes. There she was, giving it some. I saw the trailer for the new Jumanji movie earlier on. It looks great. Jumanji open world with Karen Gillan back as Ruby Roundhouse one last time. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm thinking of Glasgow in particular, Glasgow proper, home of many a police box, Charlotte, as James Sutton reminded us on the last edition of the show the other day. And here's one of them, courtesy of Kenny Smith, this fabulous picture. It does look like it's seen better days, that one. I think there's a few people have taken a whiz up that over the last few months.
That's on its last legs, isn't it? Let's be fair.
But obviously, yes, Scotland. I think this is the good thing about Doctor Who, in that it is, the Doctor may be seen as some sort of quintessential Englishman, but I like the fact that he's sort of from everywhere but nowhere at the same time, and there's a sort of British ownership of Doctor Who, which is sort of, it's shared between the Welsh, the Scots, the English, and the Irish. This is how I feel about it anyway. Obviously, there's been several Scots actors have played the Doctor. Some have done better than others, I think we can safely say, over the last 60 years. But yes, Scotland does have its own unique tie to Doctor Who, and we had this article this week, courtesy of the Glasgow Times, which I came across, and I thought this was really, really interesting. So let's take a look at what they've got to say as they roll out their pitch for this notion in particular. So it comes from a member of the Scottish Parliament who's directly calling for the next era of Doctor Who to be filmed and based in Glasgow itself. Glasgow, I think, has been sort of a city of culture or something like that once or twice over the years. I think it depends what sort of culture you enjoy, really. If you enjoy binge drinking and all-night chip shops and kebab shops, then you'll probably be okay. But no, it's a beautiful city in all seriousness. And generally speaking, I'm actually up for Doctor Who kind of travelling around a little bit. So I wanted to see what this member of the Scottish Parliament had to say about all of this. And this is Patrick Harvey. He's the co-leader of the Scottish Greens. Yeah, well, okay, I'll listen to him anyway.
Sounds like a cricket team.
It's worse. It's far worse. So he's co-leader of the Scottish Greens, and he says that the move could bring long-term jobs, training and investment to Scotland's screen sector, its creative world. He said Glasgow has many police boxes already on its streets. It's time we see another added. Scotland has had 4 actors play the Doctor on camera. Now we should bring the local talent behind the camera into the world's longest-running sci-fi TV show. Recently, Jason Connery was involved in a big initiative to develop, grow, a new studio to do just that, to train up Scots, the next generation of Scots, to work in film and television. And as I understand, it is growing in the way that Bad Wolf and Rothlock have in Wales. So I think that pushing out an initiative to harness more talent throughout the British Isles has to be a good thing, David, for creativity and for programming for viewers in time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for the show when it comes back to be filmed all across the UK in various different studios. Yes, it makes sense to have a central production hub, but as for location filming, why not use all the facilities and all the locations that you've got? So you're not just using the same quarry or the same street every time. If it's there, and the BBC obviously has, assuming the BBC Studios wins it, they have various different studios open to them across the UK and in Northern Ireland. Line of Duty is filmed in Northern Ireland and is a massive success over there. You've got obviously Wales as a massive hub as well for a lot of drama. And why not use Birmingham, Manchester, and Glasgow as well? Anywhere that's got a hub or facilities to do productions. I think he's got a very good point.
Me too. Stephen Knight is developing that new studio in Digbeth in Birmingham. They've just moved Silent Witness there, Lock, Stock, the entire production there, and obviously Knight's sequel to Peaky Blinders will be based entirely there. And I think the same could happen all over Britain. Yeah,
and I think it's part of the fact that I think people, and this is the same in radio and film, and for the film actually has shown that you can still have blockbuster, massive films that are filmed in Scotland, all over the world, and in different places. You don't have to be on the same lot at Hollywood all the time using the same backdrops. You can be successful no matter where you go. And I think what he's saying makes absolute sense, because it helps drive the local economy. And essentially, if you've got different areas available to you, it can also help keep the costs down, because they will end up competing. So if you've got more of a competition, you've got less of a monopoly, and you're more likely to have competitive offers elsewhere. So I think this is, a politician talks sense shocker. I think this should be headline.
I always agreed with Chris God, I can't believe I'm saying this. I always agreed with Chris Chibnall's notion of setting Doctor Who in Sheffield and filming it in Sheffield to show some of that city, the characteristics of that area, the surrounding area, the wildlife, the landscape, all of that, and bring that to the screen, because it's got a different sort of look to Cardiff, as has Glasgow, anywhere in Scotland, different sort of terrain. And the buildings obviously are made out of, with old cities, they tend to be made out of, the oldest buildings are made out of stone and things that come of that native area. And so that adds to the character, I suppose, of any city that they film in. But Glasgow is, in all seriousness, a 21st century city. There's lots of modern architecture there as well. So I'd be completely down for this. Chris Chibnall really dropped the ball when it came to Sheffield, which is a beautiful place. I was there again last week. But I'm kind of up for this. I mean, whatever I feel about where the tender could go is more likely to go, I actually am very sympathetic to Patrick Harvey's proposal here. I mean, what do you think, Charlotte?
I agree with this idea of sharing sort of locations, definitely, because every city has got its own character. And I remember with the Chibnall era, when we had the character of Dan, and they sort of filmed bits of Liverpool, but then it was like tiny shots, And like the dock area, for example, like I said, that's where me and my mate love to go when we go to Liverpool. Just walking around the city, you can see like old buildings next to new buildings, and it's gorgeous. And it just gives you that different feeling on screen. And I think we do get a bit bored of seeing the same locations. And also, I think it would be lovely if then, because you were filming in different locations, you could have characters from different parts of the UK be companions. You could have different sort of side characters from these different cities pop up and really sort of have a more all-encompassing vision on screen of the UK. Because I do think Doctor Who at times can just feel a bit samey with the locations. And I just think, yeah, it's such a shame that when they've got a chance that they haven't. So yeah, to sort of have almost like a satellite sort of filming would be interesting, wouldn't it, if they could do that and they could pull it off. So I think that would be
I feel so.
something.
I mean, we did get a sample of this the other day, Gary. I don't know if you caught any of this, when there was a special, if I'd call it a minisode, more sort of skit really, that was filmed in Glasgow. It starred Sir Chris Hoy and this other bloke whose name I still can't remember, Charlotte. But they were striding around Glasgow there, coming in and out of the TARDIS, and they were late for the opening of the Commonwealth Games. That was the conceit behind it, and in between all of that coming in and out of the box, we did get to see some of the city, and of course they roped in a proper Scottish doctor into their silliness here for this special scene for the opening of the Commonwealth Games. So did you see that, and did you get a feel for Glasgow as a potential location for Doctor Who, maybe?
Yes, and I want to echo David and Charlotte that, and I think this is a good indicator, that I think that filming in Glasgow is a great idea. I think, one, for two big reasons. One is that, first of all, I've never been, just like I've never actually been to the UK, I've never been to Scotland, but Scotland is like, after the UK, the second on my bucket list of where I want to go to, because I think it's beautiful. And one of my favorite mystery series, Shetland, filmed in Scotland. And actually one of the reasons why I became such a big fan of that series is just the absolutely gorgeous scenery. And I think that just like Charlotte said, whenever the show comes back in whatever form, to say, well, we're going to film it where we always filmed it, it'll look basically the way that it's always looked, is the exact wrong thing to do. I mean, if you want to have like a big like re-premiere of the show, I don't mean a reboot, but however it comes back, you need to give consideration to everything, which is like changing the look, not just changing the doctor, but changing the look, changing the visual style. Everything now is so, especially on, cable and streaming, are the big, like, prestige shots. I mean, yeah, there's still a market for the kind of street level, kind of grimy, seen it all before settings. But for something like Doctor Who, I think that they really need to think outside the box, and doing something like Glasgow would be great. I mean, like I said, if you want it to be the same as it always was, do the same as you always did and film it in the same place that you always did. And who's to say? I mean, hopefully the BBC will be a little bit more imaginative than that. But Scotland, I think, is just one of the absolutely most like gorgeous places on Earth, with just the vistas. And I don't mean like a little 2-minute shot like at the beginning of 73 Yards, like that. I mean, really, take advantage of it. I mean, it could be, I think, especially it could be absolutely great.
Edinburgh's a beautiful place to film. So much things to see in Edinburgh as well, and various other places in Scotland. And I'm totally with Gary on that, and Charlotte, and I just think at a time whereby you're trying to, with any show, try and get as many people invested as possible. If you're able to go to and because he is the Doctor, they are a time traveler. Okay, so they can go to any place and time in the world. And if you've got a number of Earth stories in the UK, why not go to these locations?
Yeah.
You know, it just makes, because people are more likely to become invested in it, if you see what I mean. And it just makes sense completely.
And you know what? You could have a companion. You could have a companion who's like Jamie's great granddaughter or grandson.
Well, I think
that's fine. Do that.
The real boon is that there's so many original police boxes there. There's 2 or 3, and so I do think, even though I quite like the current prop, so I still don't think it looks enough like a police box. So whilst they were there, they could take the opportunity to scan one of these completely and authentically reproduce it and make something that would be workable and viable. Because I think some of these are actually, that's concrete and metal and things like that, but they could make it out of something else, I'm sure. I want them to look at the TARDIS again. I want them to make it look more like a police box, the way that it used to look. I mean, obviously, you could argue that the inside of one TV studio is much the same as another. I mean, could you tell the inside of Bad Wolf Studios, for example, from the inside of Rothlock? Maybe you couldn't. Obviously, they're both in Wales, but it's when they do go on location. And before RTD2, Doctor Who did used to do quite a lot of location work, imaginative location work. So who knows when this goes out to tender and people respond, people reply. I mean, we think we know how that's going to go, but we've got a long time to wait between anything like that getting actually announced. So let's play ball for a little while and still speculate that it could still go anywhere and with everyone when it opens up. We're still waiting on that. Yeah, so it's listed, but it's not live over at the BBC ear sourcing portal. That's something else. Portal. So
we're doing well tonight, folks, aren't we?
We're still waiting.
Is this actually, Dan? Is this actually what the portal landing page looks like now?
I'm afraid so. Yes, the old BBC
Why are
logo
the world are they using?
And 3 doctors ago. Worked that one out. A slick operation, as I'm sure you can see. But yeah, the Glasgow Times. Yeah, I like the fact that the Glasgow Times are on this. MSP calls for BBC's Doctor Who to be filmed in Glasgow. That's what we think. But what do you think? Funky says Attack of the Deep Fried Mars Bars. That's somewhat, I think some people could see that as somewhat of a cultural cliche, but maybe there is some truth in it. There tends to be with a lot of these things. Julie Dunn says that having Doctor Who in Scotland and Wales is like having Spider-Man live in Toronto. Well, I don't see it as that at all, but no, I don't see it that way. As long as the Doctor goes to London when is appropriate, and they set a lot of the action in London. Things like, Aliens of London, for one. So no, I don't think so.
Let's not forget that Terror of the Zygons was meant to be in Scotland. Right. I'm not sure if they actually did the filming in Scotland for the location filming, but that was set in Scotland.
I mean, if you want it to be really cinematic, I actually think that I'd rather go to Scotland and Glasgow than just be. No offense to all you guys. I'm not saying that your country is not cinematic.
The Highlands are beautiful. Scotland is has got one of the most stunning locations that you can go to. Just to stand there and go, wow, look how beautiful it is. So why not make use of that, the Lake District and various other places?
Obviously, I'd like it to
in Scotland.
Exactly, it's perfect.
Imagine like a proper ghost story set in like Edinburgh Castle, because people know there's loads of myths about the ghosts in that castle, and have that be the story, like the Queen of Mary, the ghost of Mary, Queen of Scots, is here this week, and we're going to chase her.
Charlotte, you know what I just started watching, and one of the things, in terms of like what we'll be watching, it's like an ongoing thing on my list because my library has the whole series, and I just started watching it. Is Monarch of the Glen, which I love that show, and that is so beautiful. All the scenery in that is just like jaw dropping to me.
Look up Take the High Road, Gary.
Scotland has many amazing places for location filming, especially up in the Highlands and Islands, says Floydian. And yes, same with Stephen Braddock. Scotland has lots of fantastic scenery. We could have historical stories set in castles and ghost stories, just like you said, Charlotte. It could be dramatic and cool. I just like the idea of Doctor Who moving around a bit. I mean, yes, it's got to be, for practical purposes, it's got to be based somewhere. It's got to be fixed somewhere. But no, I think things should move around a lot more. Dan, you should check out a show called Vexed with Toby Stevens. It's only 9 episodes, a cop show, but the funniest thing, and it's right up your alley. I remember Vexed. I think I've got it on DVD with Toby Stevens. He's got some girl with him. I can't remember who it was. So yeah, I remember. It's about 10, 12 years old. It's a good show, that. Good show. Hey all chat says garbage, and evening everyone says Adrian James. A few late comers there. Nobody seems dead against the Scotland idea, apart from Julie, who seems to just have everything against anywhere other than London, which is, I suppose is fair enough. But this is what Patrick Harvey had to say. Glasgow has many police boxes already on its streets. It's time we see another added. Scotland has had 4 actors play the Doctor on camera. Now we should bring the local talent behind the camera into the world's longest running sci-fi TV show. So let us know what you think. All you Scots out there, are you on board? Would you support Patrick's motion here to to move the Doctor to the north of the border there and to take the high road in time and space? Let us know.
Go on then.
You're watching Type 40.
Woo!
And you can check out our review, our long-form review of that special Commonwealth Games scene starring, very briefly, Sylvester McCoy and Sir Chris Hoy and everything they were doing there running around the city. That was lots of fun. And we had the genuine inside track on that from a true, proper, actually existing media insider. James Sutton was our guest on the last edition of the show, and he told us everything about how he came to become involved in that and numerous other projects. So thank you again, James, for your time. This was great fun, and how terrific was it to see Sylvester back in action, back in that jumper one more time. Let us know what you think about all of that. It's a pity we couldn't have had an hour of it, or at least a night of the Doctor's worth, 10 or 15 minutes. That would have been really cool. That would have started summer off perfectly, I think. If you'd like to get more, you can hit up our playlist, Type 40 Extra there. So there's our interviews and various deep dives with the creative side to the Doctor Who world, including, if you remember that recent animation, that minute-long animation, we had Michael G. Clarke come on the show and tell us how he put it all together, his fabulous sense of humour, and where that project could be going in the future. There was another look at the very latest trailer to Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. Philip Roy's in our live chat again on YouTube. I notice the clock is ticking. The hour of the Scorpion could be approaching. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that too, won't we? As well as lots of other long-form discussions and special live streams, and myself and Sarah going on about other shows that aren't even Doctor Who. All of that is over there on Type 40 Extra. So go and discover that parallel universe of conversations. There's the Type 40 podcast too across all major podcatchers and our home feed at type40.podbean.com. But this is Type 40 Live, Rumble X, YouTube and Facebook, and there's plenty more to talk about. A few more stops on the way to our summer holidays. So you stay right where you are, you keep bringing it, and we'll keep talking about it. Okay, now seeing as I've mentioned him, let's have a quick blast of this dude.
This is Philip Roy from Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion, inside my Type 40 time and travel capsule, which is appropriate since this is the Type 40 podcast.
Welcome back. The British actor Tom Chadbourne, who passed away last weekend, had quite the career. From Casualty to Game of Thrones, he seemed to turn up everywhere, even a James Bond movie back in 2006. Of course, Doctor Who fans loved him best as Duggan the Thumping Detective in 1979's classic City of Death, and his return performance there as Murdine 7 years later in Trial of a Time Lord opposite Colin Baker. Tom Chadbourne is again, one of those actors that Doctor Who fans have always held dear. He made a great impact in both roles. And yeah, you would see him turn up just about everywhere. And it was another one of those, Charlotte, where you turn to your family members, you'd talk at them from across from the armchair to the sofa or back and forward saying, he was in Doctor Who. He did this and that and the other. It didn't matter where it was. He was instantly recognizable. It didn't matter whether he was bearded or long hair, short hair. There was something very distinctive, very recognizable about Tom Chadbourne's voice.
Yeah, and just his demeanor, I think Duggan is such a good example of that, because with Classic Who, because you had those longer stories, and you had more time, it meant that if you did have the sort of the side characters or the sort of the non-Doctor or companion characters, if you had a good actor in one of those roles, you really took to them. And I think Duggan is one of those examples of he could have just been this bumbling detective that just sort of was there, but by the end of the story, he's almost developed like this lovely back and forward with Tom's Doctor, which at times you almost forget he's not a companion. He just sort of naturally fits with Tom. And then, like you said, he's sort of got the fact that as Duggan, he would be quite blunt and he would punch stuff and be quite sort of, that Tom literally had that catchphrase, didn't he, of like, just shut up. So yeah, he sort of stood out, I think, when we've had lots of characters like Duggan, but he especially stood out. I think that a lot of that was Tom's skill on show.
He was he was born in Luton in Bedfordshire, England. He trained for the stage at at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, in London. And it was in 1967 that he made his debut as a philosopher in a 1967 production of Galileo at the Phoenix Theatre in Leicester. David, that's your neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's not far away. Not far away at all. And he, if I may, he is another one of those that I like to call a brilliant character actor, like we've featured before, Tony Cornter. He could be anything. He was just absolutely completely versatile. He could be a crook. He could be he could appear on the Oneidin line, for example. I don't think he did, but he could be a sort of a hornblower type sailor of yore. He could be in Games of Thrones. He could be in Bond. He could be on a rebel leader on a Federation planet, desperate to lead an uprising and then have his sister being killed by one of his adversaries. His role in Blake 7 was one of my personal favourites. I actually feel that his role in Doctor Who, his roles in Doctor Who, I loved Murdine. I thought it was an excellent performance. But I think his performance as Duggan, from a Doctor Who perspective, really made City of Death. I say that because it was in the season 17 I don't like, because I feel that Tom at this time had got a little bit out of control and was trying to ham everything up too much. He was treating it as some sort of almost like Monty Python sort of comedy. And the thing is, Tom Chadbourne came in for me and rescued this story by just playing this sort of, I think he was based on Bulldog Drummond, the character of Duggan, and he came in and played it absolutely straight, like he's this detective who's just had it with this guy he knows he's bang at it, committing all these thefts, these high-value thefts, and he's just sort of over there thinking, right, I'm gonna give it to this guy, and I don't care what it costs. And there's just little nuances in his performance. The way that the way that lovely scene in the cafe at night when he breaks into the cafe, and he just opens the bottle of wine by smashing it. And the look on Marla Ward's face is just that sort of look of disgust on Rose's face. and he sort of gives her a look back as if to say, and it's those beautiful little intricacies of his performances, whether it be in Doctor Who, Blake Seven, the Bill, Poirot, Casualty, James Bond. He had the ability to be anybody, and that's what I think a great character actor embodies. They can be one moment they can be in Doctor Who being a detective. They can be in Casualty playing somebody else. They can be a doctor. He played Dr. Burton in the Labours of Hercules, and he was just able to put himself in any sort of role. Amazing ability, and
actors like this, David, they're worth their weight in gold for casting directors, producers, directors, aren't they?
Yeah, totally. And what I particularly love is the fact that Murdine is the character. You can see him really develop Murdine throughout those 4 episodes of the first of the Mysterious Planet in Trial of a Time Lord, coming from I don't like this guy to actually this guy's all right.
He's
and this guy is
almost
this guy. Yeah, this guy actually is a good guy. He's a really good guy, and he recognizes that the system he's serving is actually broken, and he's actually subverting it. But you wouldn't have guessed that from the first moment you saw him. You just thought, "Oh no, here's another Jobsworth." But because he had so many different. He gave his characters that he was playing so many different layers. He was just a joy to watch and listen to. His voice was just he had one of those amazing voices, commanding. He spoke when he spoke on screen or on audio. You listened. It grabbed you, and it's such a terrible loss.
Yeah, it says a lot that in those scenes in City and Death, when you've got Tom, like you said, he's at that point, I agree, where he knows how beloved he is at that point, I think, as the Doctor. So he's almost like, this is my set. I can do what I want. That's the energy. And so the fact that in those scenes, he can basically square up to him in moments and be like, no, I'm doing this. And to do that with Tom at that point, that's not a mean feat. That's quite an impressive feat that he can do that. And you go afterwards, do you know what? I agree with Duggan. I think he had a point.
Gary, as long as I've known you, you've signed off your appearances on YouTube with a certain phrase. Would you like to confide what that is?
Yes. Whenever you're signing off and we're quickly giving our goodbyes, I always like to say, bye-bye, Duggan, which I think is just one of the most sublime last lines of a Doctor Who story ever. The fact that he's all the way up and he's all the way down and we can still hear Tom yell, bye-bye, Duggan. This is...
It's not very often that any doctor takes time to say bye-bye to anybody.
And, I think that if we were just to, off the top of our heads, make just a random list of the 5 or 10 most memorable supporting characters in any Doctor Who story, Duggan would absolutely be probably on all of our lists. I'm not counting villains and monsters. Because most of the time they're, interchangeable like allies. They're either there to, feed the Doctor, information, or to be, like a politician who is, like a speed bump for the Doctor to get done what he needs to get done. But to have this Duggan come in who fits, and I'm one of the people who I adore the entire Graham Williams era, and I adore season 17 because I see what it was kind of trying to do. The fact that you could have this bull in a china shop character who, as David and Charlotte have already said, kind of fits in so perfectly, not only with Lala, but with Tom as well. And he just like fits that story. It's like the doctor is exchanging these like Oscar Wilde level banter with the villain, like, oh, what a lovely butler, he's so violent, and they have that level of dialogue going. But then you have the Duggan character who comes in and like wants to punch a wall, but still fits in with this story, which is amazing. And I think the doctor comes to appreciate it. It's like, well, boy, he comes to appreciate that, well, maybe he could be useful, like when they're trapped in a cellar or whatever. And let's not forget that if it wasn't for Duggan, none of us would have evolved on this earth, right? As the doctor said, that was the most important punch in history. Absolutely. So we owe our human existence to Duggan. Let's not forget that. And as for Tom Chabon, yeah, I love seeing. I'm like such an aficionado of British mysteries, and I always love recognizing who veterans, whether it be on Poirot or Father Brown, or I think he was also on Foyle's War, which is another just fantastic show. And it's great when people like this that I recognize, from who like pop up on my British mysteries. And he's done a lot of those. So, like you said, I mean, that's kind of invaluable. It's like you kind of like an evergreen television presence who will show up like when you least expect it. It's great.
Out of the Unknown, the British anthology science fiction series from the mid to late 60s, David, was an early role for Tom, along with the Liver Birds and Softly Task Force, all those sort of shows that were on sort of all the time, really. But in a few short years, he was in movies, including where is it? The Beast Must Die There with Peter Cushing, where he kind of looks like Rick Wakeman there, doesn't he? He's with the long hair and the long beard. He looks very, very 1970s. And a movie called Juggernaut with Richard Harris and Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, right.
So this actor, he played with some major talents, some major international film stars.
And that's the point I wanted to sort of make about City of Death, is the fact that let's not forget the rest of the guest cast in Catherine Schell and also Mr. Glover, Julian Glover, two massive actors, humongous sort of, massive screen presence, and he outperformed them all with Duggan. His performance of Duggan, for me, was just a cut above the rest of any of the other casts.
I think it's because, David, when you're a child, you don't know the actors who are in something like Doctor Who, what they've done before. You don't know that Julian Glover is this classically trained actor, this sort of steadfast, reliable, and decorated actor of stage and screen. He is whoever he is in that 25 minutes. And so it doesn't. If you're good in a great part in a hit show, you can make a massive impact with a younger audience, with a pure audience, who might not necessarily see it as being as the scales being tilted in, for example, Julian Glover or Catherine Schell's favour. Doctor Who's a very equalising show, I think. To be honest, I think a lot of these sci-fi shows are. Blake Seven too, where he, again, another memorable performance as Del. Was it Del Grant in that? I can't quite remember.
Grant, he really stole the show in that one, because at the start, I remember watching Countdown for the first time, which is in the second season of Blake Seven, for those who don't know. And as soon as you see Del Grant and him behaving how he behaves, especially towards Avon, you think, I don't really like this idiot. I don't really like this sort of reckless freedom fighter. He's a sort of gun for hire, essentially. I don't like him at all. But Tom Chadbourne, as the actor, just sort of makes you like him, the character, because of his performance. He has what all good actors have in it, and the fact that he kept working and working and working shows that directors loved him because he was a versatile actor and he was a versatile character actor. And part of the job as a character actor, I believe, is to make people understand and sympathize or empathize with that character and their viewpoint and their way of portraying somebody. So to make them almost, in some cases, the unlikable likable, make you believe in their motivations, make you believe why they are doing what they are doing.
Yeah.
And even in the smallest roles, Tom Chadbourne was able to do that. But you got the impression that you were watching a multi-dimensional character, and as things go by, he was stripping off, peeling off layers, so you would see more and more and more, and that's that's why I believe he was in work for so very long and so very much in demand. An amazing actor.
The character of Duggan could so easily have descended into farce. Because you have this guy who comes in, he punches everything, and it's like you think, you would think, okay, this is a cartoon character. This is a guy who just, punches everything and is getting on the wrong side of the Doctor and run it, but he doesn't. And the ability to play comedy and not have a character become cartoonish or farcical or the joke character is a delicate thread. You've got to thread that needle, and he absolutely does it with this character. My only regret in City of Death as regards Duggan is because the character didn't feature K9. I would have loved to see Duggan meet K9.
Probably would have kicked it.
Yeah, he would have.
He did get to appear sort of opposite K9 here for Big Finish in the Paradox Planet there, reunited with Tom Baker and Lalla Ward. This was about 5 or 6 years ago, I think, quite a while ago now. Emma Campbell-Jones was also in that one, and Simon Rouse, a good strong cast. And there he is again with Lalla Ward. I mean, for me, both of these characters are very, very memorable. Obviously, I've seen The Mysterious Planet, The Trial of a Time Lord, far more times than I've seen City of Death because I had it on video for so long. And so for me, I discovered him as Duggan second, even though I remember watching City of Death when I was a little kid. It was out of bounds, out of reach to me for a really, really long time. So I view both of these characters as really valuable, and I can't imagine Mysterious Planet without Murdine. You certainly can't imagine City of Death without Duggan. So if I was to, I'm hard pushed to pick a favourite between them myself. But Tom Chadbourne is absolutely a favourite recurring actor of Doctor Who fans, of regular viewers. And 80 years of age, of course it's a good age, and we did get to see him in plenty of other things. And I think as we all rediscover classic movies and TV, Charlotte, he'll continue to turn up in various things, or we'll be listening to a Big Finish or something on the radio, and it'll be, I know that voice. I recognise that guy. It'll be like that. I don't think he'll leave us for a long, long time.
No, and especially as the fact that you showed the Game of Thrones stuff he did, like that says a lot that a show like that had so many up and coming actors and the likes of like Charles Dance and actors like that in all that tapestry he was there. Like that shows you the level of talent. That even at that point, one of the highest shows that was most popular on the planet, still, a casting director went, yeah, let's have him. I think that's the thing of if you can have a career for that long, you just create memory after memory after memory, don't you? And those stay with people and those stack. And I think with City of Death as well, that's special because Russell spoke about when he brought the show back, he showed City of Death. That's what he showed Julie as like, here's a blueprint for what Doctor Who needs to be. So that's also a major thing, that the story that Russell sort of brought the show back so successfully with, Duggan was a major part of that story. And I won't be surprised if what Russell got from Duggan was that sense of sort of salt of the earth, the normal character. And I've said this before, I think it's so important in Doctor Who that we don't lose that sense of the Doctor gets used to this world. The Doctor doesn't flinch. And then after a while, the companion sort of gets used to it. So it's really important that you have a character like a Duggan who can just come and be like, no, you're talking to me, but it doesn't make sense. I'm just going to smash this chair.
That's
Like
right.
that sort of mentality of that's what we connect back with, because that's a more normal reaction, not the sort of high brain of the Doctor or the companion that, like I said, gets a bit used to it.
There is no way he thought he knew that was a Louis Kent sort of chair. It was just a weapon. And
yes,
it
was a means to an end. And that's what I mean. You need characters that just don't think highly in that sense.
And sorry, can I just make one final thing about City of Death, please? Sorry, I know
we can't keep going over City of Death.
I just it's very, very, very small point and very important. Douglas Adams stated that because he was primarily also a comedy writer, he said that when you wrote something that was funny, you would have actors who would quite often do it over the top. And he sort of, it was a part criticism of Tom Baker on that. He would overplay it. But with Tom Chadbourne, he underplayed those moments. As Gary quite rightly said, he played it straight, and that's why it was funny, because he was playing it straight. If he'd been goofing around, we wouldn't love Duggan, and Duggan would have been a complete misstep.
It would have seemed like a turn. It would have been no different to Peck's in Paradise Towers or something like that.
Yeah,
Tom
totally.
Chadbourne's final screen role was in Game of Thrones back in 2017, where he played the High Septim Maynard there. So I watched that, and I did recognise him at the time. And obviously, he's got that sort of rich voice, and it had got even more sort of velvety with the years too. So he will be missed, just like Peter Vaughan and various other sort of British actors of the 70s and the 80s. Those character actors. I did want to say a few words about Bill Oddie. Bill Oddie, who also passed away, aged 85 this week. Bill Oddie was never in Doctor Who, Charlotte. And so this may seem a little odd, but bear with me. There's a massive crossover interest between Bill Oddie and especially his series, The Goodies, from the 1970s and early 80s. There's a huge crossover of interest between The Goodies and Doctor Who, particularly in territories outside of Great Britain, funnily enough. In Australia, probably chiefly. Bill Oddie was one of 3 stars of The Goodies, as lots of you will know. Plenty of you probably were brought up on The Goodies, as I was. But to you, Charlotte, Bill Oddie will be more recognisable as an ornithologist on the telly, sort of speaking in a hushed tone from a little shack covered in leaves, and he's usually holding binoculars. He never looks fully dressed without his binoculars, checking out birds on Springwatch or something like that. Do you know who Bill Oddie is?
Oh, I watched Springwatch when he was on it, because he was an eccentric. Like, that's the word I always comes to mind when I think of Bill Oddie, in the best way. Like, usually when they did like the films and the presenters talk over them, they could get quite boring. It was never boring when Bill did it, because he'd have some weird joke, or he'd sort of say something a little bit that he probably nowadays wouldn't get away with, I would suspect, on the BBC, just because he was very sort of in that old school sense of, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Like, you're not going to sort of edit what I can say or not. That's the vibe sort of Bill gave off. So this is how I know Bill. And when I saw this in the news, I did sort of go, oh, that's sad, because he was such a lovable character as well.
Not everybody can be a national treasure. I think we probably overuse phrases like that. But people like Bill Oddie were sort of wonderful originals, Gary. You could say they're the archetypal eccentric with a small e Englishman, somebody who was an expert in his field, and quite zany. I wouldn't describe him as being outspoken. It wasn't that you never knew what he was going to say next, but you kind of never knew what he was going to do. Partly maybe because he was a Brummie. He was brought up. In fact, Bill Oddie was raised. He spent his childhood and adolescence literally sort of 200 yards away from where I'm sat now.
Wow.
He lived in a town just up the road from me, went to the same school that my children went to, and here he is in his youth. Bill Oddie, probably, I'd say that's in the mid-50s. Yeah, that would be my guess, mid to late 50s, around that time. But it was in the 70s where he became a household name as the funny one, the slightly sort of hippie-ish one in the goodies. He was the guy, kind of like Clive Dunn in Dad's Army. He'd be the one who'd be dangling off a crane or dressed as something quite outlandish. It was a really zany show. I bet you've seen this. You've certainly heard of the goodies.
I haven't seen like too many of them. Actually, maybe only one or two, because I think wherever it did air in the US, and I'm not sure like where or when it ever did, but it might have been like early BBC America, like before I had cable. But no, I've absolutely certainly heard of it, and I know what an institution it was with all of you. And as far as eccentrics go, or what was the other word you used to describe them?
Originals.
Yeah, it's like I think the world needs more of that. So one of these days, maybe I'll get around to watching all of the goodies amongst my massive list. But I understand. I mean, do all the episodes of that exist, or are there some missing? Or
I believe so. I think it could be the case that I think they were all made in color, but it could be the case that some only exist in black and white. I don't know a great deal about the goodies. I haven't seen it for years and years and years. But I know there's this massive crossover. It used to, on weekday afternoons, David, it used to be doubled up episodes of the goodies with John Pertwee's Doctor Who every weekday afternoon, and they would just repeat them throughout the 1970s. So anybody from Australia and New Zealand will be very familiar with it. Then, of course, there's the Spring Watch stuff. There's all the various things that he used to do. Facts, There was a series he was part of in the 80s, which was kind of, I suppose, it was sort of like in the pre-internet age, it was like an internet search in TV form for half an hour. It was a very interesting show he used to do with Billy Butler. But in recent years, he's, I won't say become noted for it, but I think it's been notable that he's one of the very few figures in the mainstream entertainment sort of landscape who was openly speaking about his struggles with mental health throughout his life, which obviously that got a lot of commendation from mental health charities and support groups and things like that. It's a very brave thing to do, particularly for a man of his generation, being in his mid-80s. I think we owe him a debt of gratitude for that alone.
Totally. I remember sitting in my car on my mum's driveway, and it was when Parkinson used to do his Sunday morning program on Radio 2. Michael Parkinson, and Bill Oddie was a guest, and I'd sort of pulled up, and he just started talking about his depression completely through the interview. It's one of the only times I've heard Michael Parkinson thrown, because he didn't expect him to say anything. I don't think he even knew, and it was one of those moments whereby you can't turn off the radio because you have to hear what is going on. And he spoke about it so powerfully and beautifully that the greatest interviewer of our time, Michael Parkinson, for celebrities, was lost for words. And it was just an amazing moment of radio. And I think it was just such an important thing. And we think of him as this not naturist, but naturalist.
You can think of him as both if you like, if it works for you.
Yeah, sorry, naturalist programming as birdwatch, as Charlotte will say him. But he was also a fantastic comedy writer as well. He wrote for David Frost's That Was the Week That Was, and I'm sorry, I'll read that again. And he was a prolific writer as well. And one thing I think also is that he was able to take comedy in good humour, because for those who remember the first series of I'm Alan Partridge, when Alan Partridge was living in the travel tavern.
Yes, I remember.
Bill Oddie would always be referenced as ringing up, and Alan would say, did you leave a message? No, never leaves a message. And Bill Oddie was asked about these references, and he said, I think it's amazing. I think it's funny, because he appreciated comedy. And he said he even wrote to Steve Coogan just saying, what's your motivation for I'm just curious. But obviously Alan Partridge, Steve Coogan never replied, which I found quite sad, really. But even through to Mid-Morning Matters, when which is available on the iPlayer, should people want to go and look it up, he referenced Mid-Morning Matters. Partridge quizzed a special. I only saw the episode last week. Quite sadly, he said he quizzes a special forces expert on what would he do if Bill Oddie spearheaded a terrorist attack by the RSPB, likening the presenter to a bearded Catherine wheel scything through the crowd. It's sort of like the fact that but the thing is, Steve Coogan used Bill Oddie as in that moment of comedy, because I'm sure he loved him and was really appreciative of the work he did. And the one Goodies episode that people always reference of our age, Dan, and I hope you'll agree with me on this one, is that damn kitten on the Post Office Tower.
Several people are mentioning it in the live chat here on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X as we speak. Yeah,
that is the one iconic thing of the Goodies. And don't forget, he appeared on Top of the Pops, miming along to do the Funky Gibbon, which was you need to YouTube that one as well, Charlotte, and you will see how
Charlotte.
Get it on your playlist, Charlotte.
While you're doing
in the bars.
While you're doing that, you can also sample his Big Finish work as well. Yes, he did.
Yes.
Sort of appear in Doctor Who. So this was all the way back in 2003. So relatively early days, I suppose you could say, for Big Finish. Now, here he is with Tom Baker. He was one of the voice cast of Doctor Who and the Pirates, along with Maggie Stables. This was a sort of a semi-musical adventure. And it wasn't necessarily to my taste, but Bill Oddie was good in it. He was in these exclusive pictures from Big Finish here that they've posted this week. You can see that even though he didn't act very often, he was certainly up for playing the fool once again as part of the ensemble cast for this Doctor Who story. There with Colin Baker, Maggie Stables, and there's Helen Rayner and various other people that I recognise from Big Finish even now. So it's lovely that he was sort of part of Doctor Who in a kind of tangential way after all, but there's such a big crossover between Doctor Who and the Goodies. And if you could say that Bill Oddie was a kind of real life Doctor Who, I think that a lot of people would probably feel that way about the man. And he will be missed. Our thoughts are with the families of both Bill Oddie and Tom Chadbourne. Let us know your favourite sort of memory of Bill, of the Goodies, of Tom, and each of his fabulous Doctor Who characters. It's a sad time. There's been a lot of public figures, actors who've left us over the last couple of months, it seems, more than ever. And obviously, we can't keep paying tribute to literally everybody. We have to sort of not exactly cherry pick as such, but we have to be mindful of the fact that this show isn't obituary of the week. But I trust you'll agree that in the case of Tom Chadbourne, that this man was special, and the impression that he made just as lasting as many of the actual regular cast members of Doctor Who. And our affection and respect to Bill Oddie for his life entertaining us and informing us too. They will be missed. They will be missed. You may miss us while we're away. We're off right now, in fact, but we're going to be back in a couple of minutes. It's the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break, everybody. And with the BBC flooding not just mainstream TV, but YouTube too, with this rather desperate corporate advert that they've put together, which I'm sort of veering in what I think about that over the weeks. Sometimes when it pops up and just starts playing automatically on my smartphone or tablet, I think just immediately hit skip. But it does have its seeds in entertainment and comedy 40 years ago. So let's be reminded of the original, and you can judge who did it best.
And what can I get you, sir?
Oh, give me a gin and tonic. No, make that a double. I need it. I just bought my television license.
Ah.
God, 58 quid. I ask you, 58 quid for the privilege of sitting in your own home, watching your own television set. It's diabolical. I mean, what's the BBC ever given us for 58 quid? God.
They make excellent dramas, huh?
What?
They make excellent dramas, huh?
Oh, yeah. What? And pretty good natural history films. Yeah, but apart from excellent drama and the wonderful natural history programmes, what have the BBC ever given us?
Well, there's some jolly good cricket coverage. And golf.
Athletics. And Wimbledon.
And racing. Oh, sport.
And snooker.
How could you miss it?
And there's superb news coverage from very early in the morning.
News.
And there's politics.
Elections.
Current affairs.
Yeah, true, point taken.
Documentaries.
Yeah, all right, documentaries granted.
Consumer programmes. And series.
Fine, all right, but look, the point is...
Films.
Yeah, but...
And radio, too.
And 1.
And 3.
And 4.
Yeah, all right, I forgot about radio. But...
It's children's telly too.
And science.
All right, fair enough, yeah.
And comedy. Yes, comedy. Yeah, that's always laughing. And there's alternative comedy.
Yeah, all right, fair enough, yeah. All right, there's comedy and alternative comedy, but...
And they did live bait for us.
Oh, they did that, did they? Okay, point taken, fair enough. But, be fair, apart from excellent drama, the natural history programmes, the sports coverage, news, current affairs, documentaries, the consumer programmes, series, films, Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3, Radio 4, children's television, science, comedy, alternative comedy, and music, what have the BBC ever given us?
Well, there's chat shows.
Oh, shut up, Wogan. I mean, there's not even any commercials. Well, except this one.
Back with more of your Type 40 live on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, covering the past, the present, and the future of all things Doctor Who, just not necessarily in that order. Or any order, come to think of it. We're back at the City of Death here with John Cleese. Just see what we did there. How did you enjoy that? A trip down memory lane, or a dematerialization and a rematerialization all the way back in 1986. Had you seen that one before, Charlotte? Do you remember that? We talked about it last time.
I hadn't seen the full advert, but I know as soon as the new one came about, everybody was like, oh, they did one with John Cleese. So that I knew of it.
How do you think it compares?
I like how it's less showy, even being honest. Like, he's just in a pub. That there's no sort of like ended up in the Strictly studio with dancers round him.
Yeah. How about you, Gary?
Absolutely. I thought that one was so much more A, enjoyable, and B, effective. It's more intimate, that all these people are just kind of sitting around a pub, and to me that makes it more effective than this huge production number, multi-million pound production number. And Cleese, of course, is great. I mean, it's so much better.
Because it was shot on film, it did feel like you were in a real pub. It was directed by Alan Parker, David. I really love that one. I was going to say it's light on, you'd think with all those famous faces, how light on Doctor Who references and people it is. The closest I could get is Ken Campbell, who popped out of the gents at one point, and he auditioned for the Seventh Doctor. other than that, I
Yes.
think that's it. Him and John Cleese, that's it.
Well, I'm happy because I got cricket mentioned by the wonderful late great Peter West and his pipe. And there was also Brian Johnston, who was a fantastic broadcaster for many years, and the BBC former BBC cricket correspondent, talking about Radio 3. So I was made up immediately, and that's what every cricket presenter should have. Is just have a pipe there and just say, introduce. That's what we're missing from live cricket now. You need the cricket. The anchor of the cricket coverage to have their pipe out and talk about how the latest England batting collapse. But it was noticeable that Doctor Who wasn't mentioned at all.
No,
obviously, because
they wanted
Michael
us to forget about it.
I was going to say,
They wanted us to forget about it at the time. There wasn't a pipe-on show in the cast of the 2026 version. Was there any vaping? I don't know. Was there any vaping going on? I can't quite remember.
No.
Wait, that was 16p a day. How much is it a day now?
50p. 40 years later.
Oh, okay.
So that was the 2026 version. But did anybody spot the one cast member of the new one who was also in the old one? Did you pick up on that, Charlotte?
It's David Jason. Have I got the name right? From Only Fools?
And David Attenborough also appears in the latest one.
Is he in the latest one? I don't think I saw him.
Yes, he is.
I stand corrected. The two Davids made it through. How could I have missed David Attenborough? Yes, David Jason. There he is again as Del Boy. Of course, he wasn't. I don't think he was playing Del Boy in the original one, Charlotte, but it was a kind of Del Boy type figure, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You get David Jason doing a Cockney accent. It's Del Boy. It's Del Boy.
It's Del Boy, yeah.
So I think the BBC are going to torture us with this for quite a long time. So I make no apologies for continuing to send the Daleks after Romesh. But let us know what you think of that, of course, in the comments. If you've taken up a license because of the advert, or maybe you've decided to decline a license based on Romesh and his performance alone, let us know. Wet your whistle. Get it in gear. Get your mouth in gear. Let us know what you think of everything else. The original commercial there, if you're old enough to remember it, David Jason and David Attenborough. I didn't even see David Attenborough. I don't think I was paying as much attention as the BBC wanted me to the new one, Charlotte. That could be what it is.
I think after you saw Dalek Stan, you were just sort of not paying attention, were you?
That's it.
To be fair to you, Dan, it was a blink and you'll miss it with David.
Everything is in the new one, isn't it? I love Brian Johnson too, says Crimpling Doubloon, as the host of BBC Radio 4's Trivia Test Match. Was that a game show about cricket, or a game show with conventions as its sort of trappings and things?
It was a game show about cricket on Radio 4, and he also presented for many years the programme Down Your Way, about sort of quaint little English villages and towns.
Sounds a bit rude.
Yes, it was. But no, he did something, hundreds and hundreds of shows like that. So yeah, he was he was a broadcasting legend.
If that was 1986, right? You said it was 86.
Yeah.
Then that means that the show would have still been on hiatus. It would have been off air for the better part of a year, maybe, or a little bit more than a year.
18 months.
And so, yeah, I just, in comparing the two, I just think this new one, I just think it's trying too hard. I think there's like a charm in the intimacy of the original one. It's not like trying to beat you over the head with it. This one is.
I would agree. As I said, I mean, I did. It was impressive, and it was impressive production, the amount of people they got in the new one. And I did think it was creative, but yeah, it isn't warm. It has an aftertaste of desperation about it. According to Corbyn, Attenborough's only a voiceover in the new one. Well, I don't know. I still haven't seen him, so I'm sure it counts. I think the voice does count, absolutely.
You watch the
ad
original one.
Shows up.
I'm not sure what that means.
When the current ad shows
changes.
Oh, changes.
your finger changes the channel.
You know, watching the original,
Lance
you
is
think
pissed again.
at the end of it, at the end of that original one, you think, yeah,
Thank you,
16p is not too much for all that I get. You watch the new one and you think,
you know what I
that's
always
what
say,
they're
Gary?
doing with my money.
Yeah, that is true. It's good value for money if you watch it, if you enjoy it. But let us know what you think by all means. The original one from 1986 and the brand new one too. A lot of people do like that new one, partly because of Romesh and the various other things like Strictly and things like that people do enjoy, and the traitors and things like that. So there are no wrong answers here. But let us know what you think. We're coming back to the past proper now for a look at something very, very specific. Yes.
The Cyber King approaches. Your lives are in peril. The only way to save yourselves? Watch Type 40.
So I thought this could stand as a bit of a coda to our recent conversations this run that have all followed the update from the BBC on the intentions for Doctor Who in the short term and indeed the long term, because it involves the official magazine this time. A specific image that people have found quite arresting, I suppose. Doctor Who magazine obviously has this long history now. It's been in print for 47 years. In fact, its iconography, its own iconography, continues to inspire in and of itself, including this fabulous puppet picture here, Muppet picture of the Doctor and whoever it was that Billy Piper was meant to be playing, which lines up with a cover of Doctor Who magazine from right the way back in 1990, David. That was issue number 157. Yeah. When Doctor Who was, it was about to enter the wilderness years proper, as we all got that sort of sinking feeling that, oh my God, it really isn't coming back. It really isn't coming back this year. But yeah, this last week, this was published. It's the brand new edition of Doctor Who magazine, number 632, in your newsagents and supermarkets and all that. Well, maybe if you're lucky, for the unbelievable price, £11.99. For I'm glad you laughed, Gary. It's
£11.99. Jesus Christ.
I wept as I was paying for this frigging thing. This is you know me. I try to support this magazine. I love Doctor Who magazine. I've been buying it almost my entire life. But £11.99 is fucking extortionate. I really do feel that Doctor Who fans, the completists, are being absolutely rinsed on this now. And there's going to be a final. There's going to be a straw that breaks this camel's back. I don't want to see this magazine go under. Stop taking the piss. There's some good content in this edition as well. There's a good mix of articles. So Where Next for the TARDIS is obviously the main feature. Stephen Moffat is one of the interviewees, alongside director Waris Hussein and a Big Finish scriptwriter, Roshana Patel. I don't know the name, but I'll be interested certainly to hear what she's got to say. Ingrid Oliver talks about the return of Osgood there in Circuit Breaker, and the writer Steve Lyons also talks about their latest chapter of that with Joe Martin's Doctor, The Deadliest Weapon. There's more in the form of regular features, things like Gallifrey Guardian and their deep dives into the classic stories, their randomizer, a look at Sophie Aldred's podcast too. But what I think is most interesting of all is there is a chance to meet the forgotten Romanas. So Maggie Armitage speaks to for the very first time. Maggie Armitage speaks for the very first time about her very fleeting appearance alongside Tom Baker in Destiny of the Daleks all the way back in 1979. So there's actually plenty of variety in this, as well as an article from James Sutton, our guest on the last edition of this show. So that's the contents out of the way. You can judge for yourself whether that represents a good spend of £11.99 of your money. That's the contents. But it's the cover, it's the artwork that's got people's attention. Because obviously, Doctor Who magazine have been slower to respond to the update from the BBC from 6 or 7 weeks ago, because that's obviously print magazines, they've got to go to print, be written, go to print. And as I understand it, Doctor Who magazine did not have the inside track on that. We did. They didn't. Make of that what you will. But we finally got it, and I think they have put together an interesting list of interviewees. So I'm looking forward to opening mine. But it's the interior artwork that's got people talking, Charlotte. This is the subscribers cover. They're with vapors coming out of the doors of the TARDIS. So that'd be sort of what you'd expect. But there was more artwork. There was more artwork inside along similar lines, which is gradually making its way across social media for a very clear reason. Because if we're talking about the future, or a future, where the TARDIS could be going next, this is a piece of artwork that makes up a portion of the interior of the magazine, which is, as you can see, it's very much in the same vein, where the Doctor, as we last saw him at the end of the reality war, is mid-regeneration. But of course, on telly, we did see that regeneration reach a certain point, even if it wasn't completion. We saw it past this point. So why are they creating artwork that doesn't feature the resolution of this and the manifestation from his regeneration point of Billy Piper? Any ideas? Do you think this is strange?
I think Doctor Who, and this is a theory I've had in the back of my head, and then all this week with the Billy aspect and the image has sort of made me think, I actually think maybe I'm not just making stuff up in my head for once. I think the magazine is being used to sort of softly sort of discount bits of the Russell era that now they're finally realising are not very they're not well liked. But the bigger aspect is, if they be kept in canon, they're actually going to damage the show, as in whoever comes in eventually as the showrunner, they can't run with some of these story threads. They cannot create new stories if these things are still in canon. And the first hint of this was when, weirdly, they were talking about the pyramids of Mars, I think, in an issue. And in almost an offhanded one line, they basically hinted that the whole Sutekh as a massive dog on top of the TARDIS was part of an alternate universe. And they just dropped that in the middle of an article, and a load of people at the time were like, have they just completely said that didn't happen? Yeah, and that was the first instance. And then somebody sent me, actually said, oh, have you seen they printed a review in the magazine which is basically saying I couldn't stand the current run. And I think they were talking about the Christmas special. I'll get it up. That. And I'll just read a bit of it, because I thought, wow, this has been put in print. And this person basically said, I think it's just as well that the Christmas special has been cancelled. The last 2 seasons are no longer Doctor Who, but a mixture of Disney and dance routines, Marvel superhero stunts, gets better Harry Potter magic, and Scooby-Doo cartoons.
Oh dear.
That's scathing. I'm sorry.
Everyone's a critic.
That got put in the magazine.
It's scathing by modern standards. I mean, in years gone by, Charlotte, prior to 2005, Doctor Who magazine would feature letters like that all the time, including when the classic series was on. But we lived in a very different time then, and IP wasn't a thing then.
Yes, but usually there's been a party line, you can tell with the magazine that even when there's clearly stuff that hasn't gone down well overall, it's never talked about in that manner. It's kept as everything's brilliant, everything's fine, look the other way sort of approach. So that got published, and then we've got this Billy image, or the lack of Billy in this. So I think this is sort of the BBC, without officially saying it, using the magazine to basically go, yeah, forget about that. Billy didn't appear. What are you talking about? We're just going to, whenever the show comes back, he's just going to be somebody else. That's the vibe I get.
It's sort of like me and the rain I imagined earlier on, David. It didn't really happen. Do you think that they're trying to memory hole it for us? What are your thoughts about this? Is it something, or is it nothing? Or what do you think?
Are they trying to do a Mandela effect on us? It's right. Okay, some people. Okay, I've been across this. Okay, some people have called it gaslighting. I don't think it's gaslighting. I think it's that bit of whereby you've got the IP and you go, right, okay, this is a bit problematic. How do we get out of this one? Right, okay. Well, okay, the magazine. What about oh, we've had this thing from Doctor Who magazine. What about if they did a piece of artwork to show this, and so we could go, yeah, that's how we think it could sort of like end, and we'll leave it at that. I think that's good. And we can
pretty,
say that,
isn't it, David? It's very pretty.
It's very pretty. It's very arresting. It's quite a lovely, beautiful image, and we could sort of peddle that out. So I don't think it's them being sort of like what you see didn't really happen. I think it's more of them saying, if we had a chance to rewind and go back to the end of the reality war and maybe just sort of tidy up a few things and do a bit of editing. How could we sort of like put it back to somewhere whereby a new team, whomever they may be, could sort of like not find themselves down a dead end? And it could also be to say, well, we're just making it that little bit more attractive for you. We're just sort of doing a bit of cutting and pasting and sort of, oh dear me, that got in there, so we don't really want that. So I think this is a great idea. I think that whilst there was obviously that sort of singing off the same song sheet approach, I actually stopped buying Doctor Who magazine at that point, because I used to love the sort of like the typical sort of privatized sort of letters page. Dear sir, I am cancelling my subscription because blah, 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 blah. And all these people moaning, all these sorts of, well, I disagree with this and I agree with this and I disagree. I think you need that sort of healthy level of debate. And can I just ask you, Charlotte, was that bit that you read out, was it from a correspondent or was it an actual article?
It's from a letters page.
It was somebody who wrote in a fan what I read out.
All right, okay. But I think for them to now publish that, it does become a step forward, because obviously we had DWB in the 80s, which was they set out their stall when Eric Saward left, and that was quite a polarized argument, if you see what I mean. That was sort of, we don't like the way that JNT's going, and bum. Obviously, there was lots of other stuff in there at the time, so I'm not just saying they were they weren't anti Doctor Who. They just didn't. Some of the articles didn't like the way that the show was going, so there was that open discussion. But when you've got the official magazine now starting to just trying to course correct, it does seem that it's a bit of a case of, we need to sort of make this more attractive now, and to make it more of a point whereby we just go, well, now we know the Christmas special isn't happening, we don't need that little bit tagged on the end. So you did see it on telly, but we're not going to talk about it, okay? So just try and forget that those last 5 seconds didn't happen, please. But what would be really interesting is if that edit, and I do think this is a valid. I do think this is quite an interesting. I thought about this today when I was on my walk. I wonder if we'll get to the point whereby that last 5 seconds is actually snipped out and then re-put on iPlayer.
Becomes lost media, David.
Becomes lost media. Do you know that for me would go? So they are really serious about. I don't like to use the term retconning, but I would just like to use the term finishing at a more suitable point. If you see what I'm talking about.
I do. I remember, for example, the cliffhanger ending to series 3 of Doctor Who, which featured the hull of the Titanic piercing the shell of the TARDIS, and they changed it. Okay, they didn't remove the scene, Charlotte, but they did remake it. Yeah. It's one step away from snipping material, but we're 20 years on. Could they feasibly do that? What are your thoughts, Gary? is this all wishful thinking on our part, or is this them thinking, well, we sort of wish we'd have stuck with the original idea and had this just totally fading to black. We saw the Doctor regenerating in a blaze of, well, not exactly glory, but in a blaze of relief, and then it just fades to black. We bring the credits up, and then people check their lottery numbers and that kind of thing. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I do, as David said, I mean, I do, like the artistry of this picture, even though it kind of reminds me of like the climax of like a Liberace Vegas show. That aside, I do think there's merit in the attempt to memory hole. I wonder if that's going to extend to them admitting that one issue that I think was published last year, which had Billy on the cover and it said Billy Piper is the Doctor ? If that's going to extend to saying that issue doesn't exist, we just skipped over that number. It's like, how far is this going to go on? But yeah, I think that clearly they see the writing on the wall that by any metric, this era did not work. And the attempt, whatever the motivation behind Russell putting Billy there, it was seen immediately as a joke. It didn't resonate seriously with anybody. And I would have to think that there had to be at least one right-thinking person in the magazine. Well, in the magazine who thinks, look, if we go on with this, stubbornly crossing our arms and saying, oh, the last era was great and it was a success and, all of that somebody there is going to say, no, we have to stop saying that because we're going to look like idiots and we're going to destroy whatever credibility we have by taking that position. To where every, like in the Jodie era, every letter was just like, found the Jodie era enthralling and it was so great and this and that. And now if they're moving back to a more moderated balance of views, like in the letters page, some saying they like it, some saying they think it was crap or whatever, that's a more reasonable, that's the more reasonable road to sustaining this magazine longer. That crossing your arms and holding your nose and saying, I'm going to hold my breath, until everybody loves, the current era. No, that's not going to work. And I think that, they're business people who run this. They don't want to lose money. And so I think they realize just from an ongoing standpoint, they have to change tactics.
I think Jason Quinn has done an excellent job since he became editor 3 years ago, because I think he's trying to win back, or he's some of the older fans of whom sort of walked away because they weren't being acknowledged. And I do think his term as editorship, I think, has been a lot better than his predecessor was, because I thought Tom Spilsbury was a fantastic editor, and then it sort of lost its way.
I still think it's floundering, but I don't necessarily think it's floundering because of Jason. I think he's in a very difficult spot, which some of that is the publishing industry, some of it is the model of the magazine itself and the terms, the confines of the license, and the rest. Some of it is there to him. Of course it is. Everybody makes mistakes, but I do find this interesting. And when I first considered this, because it's a very arresting image, and it is a little strange the more you think about it, that this could actually be going somewhere, and they expect us all to sort of wake up. Oh, did we? Was that Billy Piper we saw back in 2025? Maybe not. And Billy Piper, ever since this was announced, to the best of my knowledge, nobody has spoken to Billy about this, about her posts on social media or the things she said at various conventions. on that 20 Years in Wales TV special from a year ago. If they really put this woman, I wonder, don't they throw her under the bus, but they certainly put her in a situation a great many people would have been uncomfortable with, and she wore it with good grace. But people are bound to ask her about it sooner rather than later by the end of this year. So it'll be interesting to see, I feel, what, if anything, she says, Charlotte.
I think she'll just carry on what she has been saying, and I think she should. And it's just that I did it as a favour. It was last minute. I got the call. I did it in my own house. Like she's been very honest, to give her credit, whenever she has been on the convention circuit, when she has had these questions. But I also think the timing here is very interesting, that this cover has gone out, because this would have been planned like for months, wasn't it? That's how they do these issues. They sort of...
Not necessarily. Not this one, I don't think.
Here's my question then. Do you think, because I'm just thinking of timing-wise here, this is going out, well, the tender process, it's been announced, it's not open yet, but we know it's going to happen. Like, we know it's just the prep for it right now, probably, and then at some point it will go live this year. And I can see how possibly, maybe as part of the remit, and this is just me absolute speculation here, is that they are saying to people who are pitching, the first thing is almost that they've said to them, you do not have to commit to that Billy thing. And
But it's a signal.
Yes, it's basically a signal to people coming in to say, like, look, we know that was Russell's decision, that was last minute. We know it creatively, it gives you a massive issue. It's done with. Here you go. Here's the image we're going to put out of this regeneration in that point. Because here's the other interesting part about that picture that also I've seen people have picked up on. You can't even tell Shooty's face in that. It's sort of, it's a man's figure. You can't really pick out any features of the current actor who's regenerating in that image. It's just sort of, it's just a man. Like, that's all you can get from that figure with burst of light coming out. So that means it's like the ultimate blank slate, that image, for anybody coming in, that they don't even have to, like, instantly reference Shooty, instantly reference Billy. And if they want to, for example, do the sort of 2005 route and go, do you know what, I'm just going to pick the Doctor up at a certain point. You can do that so easy with that image. That's what's got me thinking as well, more generally.
Curiouser and curiouser. The Doctor in limbo, maybe. At least we're certain to be rid of this arsehole now. The Russell T Davies 2 era and this odious individual are now firmly in Doctor Who's past. And the series, hopefully, and certainly the fandom, can begin to heal. Just as you say, Charlotte, as the tendering process, the tenderness years begin. I think it was Luke that coined that on the last edition of this show. Some are speaking very, very confidently about where and how they feel it's going to go. Here's Tom Fussell, the CEO of BBC Studios, declaring they are in it to win it. Oh, that could come back and bite him on the arse, but I'm willing to bet that it probably won't. This is all the fallout, of course, from the update on the future of Doctor Who from the BBC 6 or 7 weeks ago there, which we talked about at extensive detail at the time. You can hit up the playlists to get our real-time conversations as that story was breaking, and indeed the pathway there too, the prequel editions, in effect, where we broke the story in the first place. So go and check out all of that. But yeah, let us know what you think of this image. Have you seen it in Doctor Who magazine, or have you seen it online? It's definitely in circulation. Doctor Who magazine have made this readily available, so it's on social media. It's not something that's secret, it's not a leak of any kind, shall we say, Gary. This is out there legitimately and deliberately. So I think that Charlotte's right, that this is a signal, a statement, of sorts.
There's too many, from the first second, there's just too much there's too much like bad kind of sour. There's too much of a sour taste with the whole Billy thing. Nobody takes it seriously. Everybody sees it as the ultimate kind of creative bankruptcy, or either like a last desperation play. There's nothing like positive or hopeful or forward looking that about that Billy image. There never has been. So that I'm not trying to, to slam, but it's just like, if you're a business that has to move on from that, and you realize, look, you either stick with it, which is just not a choice because that's a dead end, or as Charlotte said, you just pretend it's not there. You memory hole the whole thing.
Yeah,
from one hole to another.
cheese-induced fever dream.
They'll just, at some point they'll just say it was like it never happened. It was a mass hallucination on our part.
Doctor Who magazine 632 is in the shops now, everybody, for the eye-watering price of £11.99. God, I think I can only excuse myself continuing to buy this for so long. Haven't opened it yet. I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot in there, that it's going to be worth my while. I am interested in the article about the Romaners from Destiny of the Daleks. I'm interested in this Where Next for the TARDIS feature. But as for the rest of it, we shall see. We shall see. Let us know what you think about both the magazine, about the future of the magazine, and that image in particular, and we'll certainly be coming back to it at some point in the future. But that's where we leave that from now on. Yeah.
Just a quick question. It's something one of my good friends pointed out to me the other day, and I'll just leave it as a bit of a hanging question.
Please
Don't need to go into any detail. Have you noticed how many lots and lots of interviews Stephen Moffat has been given recently about the future of Doctor Who, and also what's gone on in the past too? It's clocking up lots and lots of column inches at the moment.
He cares.
Really is.
He cares passionately about the show.
Yeah.
And in my view, and I've never met Stephen, we've got mutual friends. The signal, the message that I've received is that Stephen Moffat really cares about the show. Obviously, it's part of his legacy, but I genuinely believe that Stephen Moffat thinks of himself now, and always has, as one of us. I think he cares about this fandom. I think he has fellow feeling with this community. He doesn't view us as Ming-mongs. Yeah, he may gently poke fun now and again, but he's never cruel about us, because I think he recognises himself in most of us. And I think that's why Stephen, again, don't know, I've not spoken to him, but the impression I get is that he's got the time available and he's happy to speak about it, because he probably knows exactly how we're feeling. Probably. Yeah. I don't know. I think we can recognise a genuine man when we hear one. That would be my impression. And this, regardless of where people feel, where people are, whether people like the stuff he wrote for Doctor Who, his era, or not. I think the man, judging the man by his deeds as well as his words and his material, it's probably more indicative of his personal values, the things which he considers to be important, and a kind of duty of care, even though he's not there anymore. I mean, nobody's there. You could say nobody's there, so nobody's in the saddle right now. But you're quite right. He needn't do all of this stuff, and I can't imagine it pays particularly well. And yet there he is, stepping up to the plate when others have got anything but Doctor Who on their minds.
Yeah, it's a sort of like comforting presence, isn't it? Just sort of like saying, "Don't worry," sort of, just to sort of guide us through this period of uncertainty. That it's a very sort of almost sort of paternalistic sort of.
I think that's a very canny observation, David, and I think we should leave that question there for people to pick up on in the comments section and contact us with your thoughts about that. And it's a thing. I think it's definitely a thing. Where next? I think we'll take it home now.
Hello, this is Sue Molden. On behalf of the team, I'd like to say how overwhelmed and extremely grateful we are to everyone who has donated so far. The response has been magnificent, and we are especially grateful to those who have pledged regular donations. A big thank you from all of us at Film is Fabulous.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you very much for all the you've done.
Good job, David.
And that, my friends, is that's another season of Type 40 Live. All top. We're off. And what a nice casual conversation to finish on as well, Charlotte. I really enjoyed this. After a few intense weeks, a long to keep the brain spinning, the mind active. It's nice to just have a few cheap laughs. News about nothing in particular. Talk about our summer holidays.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, we've had such intense coverage. I think that's the word I would sort of use for everything that's been going on, everything with the show and beyond. So it was just lovely just to have a casual chat. Sort of, we showed the advert in the pub. It felt a bit like we were all having a drink in the pub, having a nice chat. That's what the stream felt like tonight. So, and I think that's what we need a little bit at the moment.
I think it is. The only thing about having conversations like this and feeling like you're in a pub is that you fancy a cheese and onion cob. The kitchen's probably closed, David, by now.
Some scampi fries, yeah.
Yeah, or a packet of peanuts from one of those pictures on the wall with the girl behind the nuts. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Type 40 Live on Rumble X, YouTube, and Facebook, of course. But yes, we are off on our jollies, everybody, on our jollies. And I don't think any of us will be dressed quite like Shooty Gatwa, although I do have a pair of socks which are worryingly like that were gifted to me for my birthday by
Dan,
one of my children.
Can I take a minute, Dan, and just say that as far as your picture selection during this show, you have been on top form. And I just
why
want
you're saying that.
Well, I'm trying to pay him a compliment that his picture selection throughout the show tonight has just been, a number one. So
and I know what people are thinking, boys. I know what you're thinking out there. You're looking at Millie and thinking, "Is that right?" Yes, I can confirm both of them. Yes, both of them. Okay, you can send us a message, any kind of feedback whatsoever. Your messages from the future. Reach out to us here at Type 40 through our social media, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who, as always. And you don't need to keep it clean because we rarely do. You can join us in the Type 40 Facebook group, open all hours, whichever time zone you're in. Come and join in there with the conversations, the debates, the scraps. Whatever, get stuck in. There's bound to be something to catch your imagination, catch your eye, or trip you up there in the Type 40 Facebook group with a couple of thousand other Doctor Who fans too. So yes, dive in and enjoy. If you want to get any kind of feedback into us whatsoever, if you like the pictures tonight too, or leave us a question, a suggestion, a prediction, a review if you like. Reviews of our reviews. It's wide open there. There's a link to SpeakPipe in the description, and you can leave us your message there in real time in your own voice. Oh, okay. Talking Doctor Who is never a chore. There's been times this year where it's been a very strange experience, so almost an out-of-body thing. For one reason or another, the year hasn't turned out to quite how we expected. I mean, we did expect to be on the countdown to that new special by now. It should have been like 4 or 5 months away, but as it turns out, there's not going to be a special at all. There's lots of special content, though, over on our playlists, previous editions of this show, our regular news coverage, our magazine show, our in-depth news reports, and breaking news that do sometimes seem to upset a lot of people. But the celebrations of Doctor Who stories and stars as well. Dive in, whether you've been here a while or whether you're a newcomer. In fact, there's going to be something to catch your imagination and to suit all tastes there in the playlists, as well as the Type 40 podcast across all major podcatchers and our home feed there at type40.podbean.com. This has been Type 40 Live on Rumble X, YouTube and Facebook, a 10th season of our live stream. And when the year started, I said we were spending the year on standby. Charlotte, and how uncertain things were. We couldn't have had the faintest idea, could we? Within weeks, there was the exciting return of 2 missing episodes. Thanks again to Film is Fabulous. The link is in the description, as always. And that was followed by our own exclusive, huge exclusive, on the collapse of that Christmas special. Quickly followed by that update from the BBC as well. The departure of Russell T Davies at long last. We knew that was coming, but the departure of Bad Wolf, that certainly took us by surprise. I do like the fact that the Doctor Who Whoniverse seems to be able to still surprise us, Gary, for better or for worse.
Well, we've said before that, I mean, as an ongoing concern, that there's so much out there still, even with all the chaos of the last few years. There's still so much out there, great Doctor Who that we're lucky to have. And, we can while away the hours until not only the show comes back, but until we come back with, hours and hours and hours of great Who. I mean, Charlotte's watching The Dominators. And yeah, I mean, it's a gift. I mean, good Doctor Who is a gift that keeps on giving, and you can watch it countless times and still discover new things about it and realize yet again why you loved it. And so, that's what I hope everybody spends their time on, is not getting mired in, controversy or poor Doctor Who or whatever. Go revisit all of these guys and discover why this is still, one of the greatest shows ever made.
Yeah, I find this year I agree, it's been very weird, very odd. We could predict in our heads what was going to happen. We all thought of possible things that were going to happen. But then in the opposite end of that, we had, like you said, the missing episodes. And for me, that was my first experience as part of this family that I see you guys.
Yeah, I've forgotten that.
Of actually having a recovered episode come back, because they'd all been, when all the other recoveries were happening, I was either too young or I wasn't part of this. So that's gonna stay in my memory, I think, forever now. That week, to sort of talk through it with you guys, see all of our reactions, see the sort of the love and the affection. And then because of the Dalek Masterplan episodes, it made me go back and watch basically Stephen Taylor's whole sort of all of his stuff. And now he's one of my favourite Doctor Who companions. So
that's lovely. Yeah.
I think that week has probably been the highlight for years for me, because the show, I've struggled with where it's been and what they've been doing with bursts of things, but those missing episodes sort of made me go, no, this is Doctor Who. This is sharing Doctor Who as well. This is discovering, like I said, Stephen and Peter Purvis and how amazing he was in that role. So I think we've sort of, for all the lows, and there has been lows, and I don't want to sort of act like that hasn't happened. There was an incredible high, and that's going to stick with me forever. So that's sort of special for me now.
Yeah, that's good. How about you, David? Have you found this year so far?
Interesting. Like Charlotte, the Doctor Who fan base, as diverse as it is, with all the opinions and the fact that you can never get two people to agree with the same thing generally ever, was once in its long history united with the joy of the return of those missing episodes. And I do think that we are stronger when we are more or less united, and that to see that joy reflected by so many people whether they be old crusties like us, or even older, or younger fans such as Charlotte, who've never experienced the joy of missing episodes return and have lived through that the first time. And it was so lovely to see Charlotte experience that for the first time, and to feel the wonderment of that all. As far as the other sort of the news with respect to the special, I'm very sort of realistic in the fact that I am pleased in a large amount that it can't be ruined, or there isn't the risk that it can be ruined even more than it having Billy pop up at the end of the reality war. Again, I think that was something that united people who loved the series 1 and 2 of RTD2 and the people that loathed it. The vast 99.9% of the majority of the feedback was WTF. What is going on? The fact that it can't be ruined, or the risk of ruining it anymore, is a very, very positive thing. And it was nice to see the BBC actually stand up, take responsibility, and say, whoa, no, we're not going to do this. The brand has already been damaged enough. We're going to reset. And although it may be painful, although it may take a bit longer, we really need to get it right this time. And we were sort of living through those shocking moments, and you're caught up in the emotion, and you just don't know how to react. But when you go to sleep, you wake up in the morning and you view it through objectively. I'm actually pleased that that decision was made. I'm actually pleased that we are where we are, because it means that you can put a full stop at the end of what has been. There can be a pause, there can be a drawing of breath, there can be a sharp intake of breath, and there can be, once again, hope and the return of hopeful positivity for what the future may bring. And I think that is what I've learned this year, is that just because there is an end of a chapter, we can be excited and hopeful and positive again for a new beginning. But that ending had to happen. And it didn't happen in a very pleasant way, but it happened. So now we've got to just go, that's happened, draw breath, cross our fingers, and just pray that it sort of starts again in a way that we can all appreciate it, rather than feeling anxious and on edge when a new episode airs.
It's not a nice feeling, is it, that?
It's
to be dreading that which we once used to look forward to. No, I couldn't agree more. Thank you, David. Where next? Type 40 is also at a crossroads with this 302nd edition of our live stream magazine show. This is a news-making, much imitated, never bettered show. 6 years on YouTube and other platforms now, and we're really grateful to those of you who've joined us on the journey. And thank you to all the regular guests and panelists too, to Charlotte Shields here, to David Milling, to Gary Akers, to Luke Walters and Mike Belgrave, to Matt Pott and Ian Diaz, and of course Scott in the game closet as well. Special thanks to Simon Horton and Kyle Wagner for their continued support as well from behind the scenes, and to Tim at the Missing Episodes podcast and everyone at Film is Fabulous too. It's been 5 or 6 or 7 months of unforgettable coverage in the Doctor Who universe, Gary. Eager to come back and do some more, but how it will feel, what it will look like, and what shape it will take, who knows? And it's to be continued, I suppose. To be continued.
Yeah, you can't say this has been an uneventful season of Type 40. it was thrilling, honestly, to be part of all of the breaking exclusives and the coverage, which Dan, you spearheaded, basically, out in front of every other Who-related podcast and stream out there. I mean, you were breaking news well ahead, months ahead of everyone, and it was really, really exciting to be a part of that. I mean, on the days where all of us just sat there as you gave us like scoop after scoop after scoop, and we were shocked at the same time as all of our people in the chat, and everybody was shocked. And it was great. And it was great to be covering the fun stuff as well, the tributes to special episodes and the Cushing film, and all of the fun stuff where we could do our fan geek out and then yet still kind of sit back and be hit with, all the monumental news coverage, which you were at the forefront of. So yeah, it's been a great season.
There's some very exciting things lined up too for when we return. In the meantime, there'll be more podcasts and videos. So keep watching and stay notified, because we'll always have the time if you have the space. That's how it works. That's how it works, Charlotte. Do you want to pull this lever? Do you want to hit this now, and we can shuffle off? Because I think I'm a bit tired. It's your turn. Say goodnight.
This is my first time, so are we all ready? Because this might be a rough landing, but are we ready, folks?
As ready as we'll ever be.
Yeah.
We hope you come and see us when we come back, and it's been a joy. See you all. Good night.
Enjoy the rest of your summer, everybody. This is Type 40 Live signing off. Bye-bye, Duggan. Bye-bye, Duggan.
Bye-bye, Duggan.
Go well.
Go well. Go well.